In this video, we'll dive a little bit deeper into duty-based ethics. Duty-based ethics, just to give you a little bit of a background, are most famously espoused by Immanuel Kant, and they're often called deontology. Now, the whole idea behind duty-based ethics, again, there are certain universal moral laws. Some of these universal moral laws are: do not lie, do not steal, do not kill. And Immanuel Kant and deontologists really believe that following a moral code is right for its own sake, not because of the outcomes, but simply because following the code is right. And really, there are a lot of benefits to having a duty-based ethical mindset. A couple of those benefits are that there are clear expectations and that it's really easy to follow. So you don't have to get tied up into, what the eventual outcome is going to be. You just know what is right, what is not, and you just make the decision based on that ethical code. But let me tell you a bit of a cautionary tale related to having a really strict duty-based ethical mindset. So this story, it happens in September of 2009. And at this time, the Christina School District in Newark, Delaware, had a zero tolerance policy against bringing weapons to school. Now, 6-year-old Zachary Christie had recently joined Cub Scouts, and as part of that, he received a mess kit, a utensil kit that he could take camping. And he was really excited about it, and so he decided, I'm going to take this to school and use it to eat my lunch tomorrow. Okay, very relatively innocent intentions there. However, as part of this utensil kit, there was a small knife attached to it. And again, the Christina School District, where Zachary attended, had a zero tolerance against bringing weapons to school. So in the end, he was suspended from school and sentenced to 45 days at a reform school, which a lot of people hear that and they say, wow, that is really harsh. Poor, little Zachary, he was just really excited about this new utensil kit that he got. He was excited to be part of Cub Scouts, and he really had no intentions, but was punished rather severely anyways. Now, that really kind of highlights, I think, what can happen with duty-based ethics and some of the downfall. One of the biggest downfalls is that overly rigid rules can really sometimes harm the innocent. So people with no bad intentions can sometimes have really harsh penalties when enforcing a really strict duty-based ethical standard. Also, sometimes there are some really unintended consequences to having a really strict duty-based ethical framework. So, for example, in Utah, where I live, there's been some really kind of strict prohibitions against polygamy, and there are a lot of positive reasons for those prohibitions, and so there are some very strict laws. And polygamy actually becomes a criminal offense. Now, the problem is what happens is sometimes some of these people who are living in these polygamous relationships sometimes are also subject to abuse and some other things like that. But then, because the relationship is classified as criminal, that actually what happens is they end up not reporting those more serious crimes. So again, sometimes having a really strict duty-based ethical framework can have some unintended consequences. Now, with the polygamy example, that has been more recently overturned to solve that problem. But again, I think it just highlights some of the problems of being too strict on a duty-based ethical framework. So to sum everything up, duty-based ethics, they have definitely some very clear benefits, but also they're not infallible.